Have you ever wondered what drives someone to become a serial killer? The story of Howard Marcus Thompson, known as the Shadow Stalker, is not just another tale of murder. It's a chilling reminder that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places. In the quiet suburbs of Portland, Oregon, between 1985 and 1991, Thompson orchestrated a series of brutal killings that would haunt the Pacific Northwest for decades to come. Before I continue the story, please hit like and subscribe. It will help me create more videos like this. The problem began when young women started disappearing from local college campuses. At first, law enforcement treated these as separate missing persons cases. But as the bodies began to surface, each positioned in elaborate tableaus in public parks, a pattern emerged. The victims were all brunette college students, aged 19 to 23, and each had been strangled with a distinctive blue silk scarf. What made this case particularly disturbing was Thompson's seemingly normal life. By day, he worked as a respected librarian at Portland State University, known for his helpful nature and quiet demeanor. He had a wife, 2 children, and was active in his local church community. But beneath this carefully constructed facade lay a methodical killer whose sophisticated approach to murder would challenge investigators for years. The details of his crimes were meticulously planned. Thompson would spend weeks studying his victims' routines, learning their schedules, and choosing the perfect moment to strike. He maintained detailed journals, which were later discovered in a hidden room in his basement, describing every aspect of his crimes. These writings revealed a disturbed mind that viewed murder as an art form, with each killing more elaborately staged than the last. His first victim, Sarah Mitchell, was found posed on a park bench, dressed in a Victorian-era gown, with her hands folded as if in prayer. The second victim, Jennifer Hayes, was discovered in a children's playground, arranged like a sleeping beauty, complete with flowers scattered around her body. Each scene was deliberately created to tell a story, a twisted narrative that existed only in Thompson's deranged mind. As the body count rose to 7, the investigation seemed to hit dead end after dead end. Thompson was careful to leave no physical evidence, and his ordinary appearance meant witnesses rarely remembered seeing him. He used his position at the university to gather information about potential victims, and his knowledge of library systems helped him track their movements without raising suspicion. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A graduate student named Lisa Chen noticed something odd about the library's computer logs. Someone was using the system after hours to access student records, specifically those of young women who fit the victim profile. When she reported this to campus security, they discovered that Thompson's key card had been used during these late-night sessions. The investigation accelerated rapidly after this discovery. Surveillance footage showed Thompson following his last victim, Rebecca Torres, through the library stacks just days before her disappearance. When police searched his home, they found the hidden room containing not only his journals, but also trophies from each victim, personal items he had carefully preserved and cataloged. Thompson's arrest in September 1991 sent shockwaves through the community. How could someone so seemingly normal harbor such darkness? During his trial, psychiatrists testified about his complex personality disorder, describing a man who lived in 2 completely separate realities. In one, he was the devoted family man and helpful librarian. In the other, he was a calculating killer who saw murder as his true calling. The most chilling aspect of the case came during Thompson's confession. He spoke about his crimes with an unsettling detachment, describing them as necessary contributions to the aesthetic of death. He claimed that each murder scene was designed to transform his victims into what he called eternal art pieces, preserving them in moments of what he perceived as perfect beauty. The case was finally resolved when Thompson was sentenced to 7 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. His conviction brought closure to the victims' families, but it also raised disturbing questions about how well we really know the people around us. The Shadow Stalker case became a landmark study in criminal psychology, highlighting how someone could maintain such a perfect facade while committing unspeakable crimes. Today, Howard Marcus Thompson remains in maximum security at Oregon State Penitentiary. His case has been studied extensively by criminal profilers and psychologists, trying to understand how someone could lead such a drastically double life. The library where he worked has established a memorial scholarship in honor of his victims, and the Portland Police Department now uses his case to train officers in recognizing the subtle signs that might indicate a killer hiding in plain sight. Perhaps the most important lesson from this case is that evil doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it hides behind a friendly smile, a helpful manner, and a normal life. The Shadow Stalker case reminds us that the monsters in our midst don't always look like monsters at all. They might be checking out your books, greeting you at church, or living right next door. The investigation into Thompson's crimes also led to significant changes in university security protocols across the country. Access to student records became more strictly controlled, and background checks for university employees became more thorough. His case served as a wake-up call about the vulnerability of college students and the need for better security measures on campuses. The shadow of Thompson's crimes still looms over Portland. The parks where he left his victims have been renovated and redesigned, partly to erase the painful memories associated with them. But for those who lived through that terrifying period, the scars remain. Every few years, when Thompson comes up for his mandatory parole hearing, the city holds its breath, though there's little chance he'll ever be released. In the end, the case of the Shadow Stalker serves as a haunting reminder that the line between ordinary and extraordinary evil can be terrifyingly thin. It challenges our assumptions about what a killer looks like and forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about human nature. Howard Marcus Thompson may be behind bars, but his legacy continues to influence how we think about serial killers and the masks they wear in society. The question remains, how many other Howard Marcus Thompsons are out there, living seemingly normal lives while harboring dark secrets? It's a question that keeps law enforcement officers awake at night and makes us look at our neighbors just a little bit differently. Because sometimes the scariest monsters aren't hiding under our beds, they're hiding in plain sight, checking out books at the local library.